Before we start our presentation today, allow me to introduce our group member, which are CHARULATA anak perempuan N.ARASU, N.ARASU ZAFIKA binti NIZAM, NADIA HUSNA binti Muhammad ZAINURAIN, and NADIA AINA binti NIZARUDDIN.
Hi, my name is CHARULATA anak perempuan N.ARASU. My registration number 01DKA21F1152. Today I am going to explain about definition of scope. Scope is the angle of inclination of soil surface from horizontal. Of scope failure, faults are usually associated with short-term failure of step slope, usually in rock with vertical joints. As the lateral support is removed, plugging occurs at the scope footing and tension cracks open behind its crest, usually along the pre-existing figures. This leads to progressive increase of stress in roof of the separating mass and to the eventual collapse of process is frequently accelerated by water entering the tension. Second, rotational slide occurs characteristic in scope of fairly uniform clay. The failure surface is curved and usually deep-seated. The shipping mass slump, shrinking at the gear and having at the toe approximately circular rotation slips are associated with cut scope of uniform clay, whereas non-circular rotation slip with natural scope of over-consideration clay in which weathering has produced a softened upper layer. Rotational slide generally result from the presence of heterogeneity in the form of a weak soil layer located at shallow dip beneath the scope. The failure surface is appropriately panel and parallel to the ground surface. If the plane of weakness is at a moderate depth beneath the scope, a component slide are particularly rational and particularly translational character may occur. Flow are mass movement which there are no well-defined failure panels. Skempton's and Hutchinson 1969 differentiate between earth flow and mud flow. The latter are glacial like in form, whereas the former are considered to be transitional in character between the slide and mud flow. What causes a scope failure? Steepness of scope, water and drainage, soil composition, vegetation, bleeding panels, joint and fractures, and lastly, sudden shock. Preservation and conservation of scope. Preservation, natural fertilizer including stock manure, mulch, manipulated sludge, and legume plants such as alfalfa or clover. Manure and sludge are applied by spreading it over the land and then working it into the soil. Strict guidance must be followed in timing application, since both sludge and manure can cause major water contamination if handled improperly. Legumes such as clover or alfalfa are grown and then tied into the soil as green fertilizer. Like chemical fertilizer, natural fertilizer replenish the soil with essential nutrition like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. However, they have the added benefit of providing the soil with organic matter. One of the best ways to conserve soil is to increase the area under forest. Undiscriminating trees cutting should be stopped and effort should be made to plant trees in new areas. 20 to 25% has they say in the minimum area of forest land for the whole whole country, which is considered healthy for soil and water conservation. Neverthelessly, it was raised to 33% in the second 5-year plan, the proportion being 20% for the plain and 60% for hilly and mountainous regions. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is NADIA AINA binti NIZARUDDIN. My matric number is 01DKA21F1158. I will explain about analysis laboratory data. There are two analysis data that we use. Firstly, it is a soil density test. We have three samples for this dry density test. For the first, moisture content is 42.67, the second is 33.89, and the third is 53.20. For the average, moisture content is 43.25. Next is for soil density. The first one we get is 4.48, the second is 3.89, and the third is 3.94. For the average density of the soil is 4.10. To calculate the weight of the unit using the formula, that is the density of the soil multiplied by G, which is 9.81. The first one we get 43.95. The second is 38.60, and the third is 38.65. Then the second laboratory analysis is the tracer test. As you can see in the data, there is cell pressure, deviator stress, and major stress. To calculate the amount of major stress, we must add cell pressure with deviator stress. So the first major stress is 30 plus 155 equal to 185. The second one, 90 plus 175 equal to 265. For the last one is 235 plus 195 equal to 430. After the calculation of major stress, we use the data of major and minor stress to make a shear stress against normal stress tracer graph.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Nama saya ialah ZAFIKA binti NIZAM and my matric number is 01DKA21F1140. So hari ni saya nak terangkan pasal total stress analysis. So jalan kira dia theta sama dengan sudut darab pi j per dengan 180. So saya dapat jawapan 0.96. Tu area dia saya dapat 34 box darabkan dengan 1 sebab satu kotak tu nilai dia 1 kali dengan 1. So 1 meter kuasa 2. So dapat jawapan 34 meter kuasa 2. Dan nak cari W sama dengan area darabkan dengan Y. So 34 darab 38.16, saya dapat 1297.44. And nak cari force dia, CR kuasa 2 theta bahagikan dengan WD. So 70 darab 14 kuasa 2 darab 0.96 bahagikan dengan 129.7.44 darabkan dengan 4. So dapat jawapan 2.538. So saya buat graf seperti gambar ajar di sebelah. Sekian, terima kasih.
So for conclusion, by performing this case study, the moisture content of soil sample is determined, which is 43.25%, and the average soil density is 4.10 gram per centimeter cube. Then from the triaxial test, we got the total of soil cohesion and friction angle, which are 70 kN per m square and 5 degree. After that, the total stress analysis graph is sketched. So in conclusion, slope stability study is really important to determine endangered areas, investigation of potential failure mechanism, determination of the slope sensitivity to different triggering mechanism, and designing of optimal slope with regard to safety, reliability and economy. So that's all from our group. Thank you for listening.